Listen to me, beings of light, and take note of what I have to say. This is Arx, which was once a city like so many others, spreading proudly beneath the majesty of the sun. Our king Paxellus was a true and just king who knew how to deal with our occasional skirmishes with the goblins or the rat men. Many years after Paxellus's death, in the fatal year of 226, our sun began to fall into decline, and an eternal winter fell upon our world. His Majesty Lunshire, noble son of Paxellus, decided to move the whole city of Arx underground into one of the dwarves' abandoned mines. At this point, the conflicts between the different races in Arx dissolved. Not just humans, but dwarves, trolls, and goblins all worked together for their common survival. This migration underground took 5 years, during which the sun disappeared completely from our skies. All the races built their homes in this new setting, and little by little, relationships between the races began to slip back to the way they had always been. But today, evil is knocking at the gates. Akba, the god of destruction, is about to...
Hey, you there! This way, quick!
Don't let him get away!
Gotcha! It's all right. He's
Come
trapped
on.
here.
Get this door broken down!
Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. My name is Cordumped and we are going to be making a new series featuring this very cool game, Arx Fatalis. Or Fatalis, I don't really know how to spell it, I'm sorry. This will be a special playthrough because this is a game that I really enjoy. And yet, it's a game I've never actually finished. The last time I picked it up was a few years ago, and every time I do, I enjoy the game thoroughly, but at some point there seems to always be something happening in my life that makes me have to drop it for some reason. So hopefully in this series not only will I be able to show you guys an awesome game, especially if you don't know it, but I will also be doing it for myself to see if I actually finish this game. So this is a game by Arcane Studios, which is a company which I think I like all of their games. They made the Dishonored series, they made Arx Fatalis, and they also made Prey more recently. This game is from the early 2000s, I believe, and it's also a game that if anyone is interested in trying out right now, you should keep in mind this name, Arx Libertatis. This is a community mod which pretty much just makes the game perform better in modern computers. Okay, so I'm running the latest version on GOG, the latest version of the game from GOG, so I don't know how Steam does this, but it should be about the same. And that version running on my computer in Windows 10, you can get the menu working properly, but once you start the game I was getting a lot of delay, a lot of problems with the frames, so this mod just fixed everything right up. So it's a free mod, you can just Google it and it's fine. So without further ado, we're gonna start our new quest and get on with character creation. So for those who don't know, this is an RPG, a first-person RPG, and this is our handsome fellow, our main character, our protagonist. You can swap him if you like blondes or someone that just got out of jail or like a magician. We're just gonna go with the default one. I like this face, so it's fine. And we have a bunch of stuff in our character screen. So for this video, I want to go through what the stats are, what the skills are, and how it affects your character creation. So on this left page, we can see our protagonist, and we can see our armor class. It says on the top left of the screen. Our resistance to magic, resistance to poison, health points, mana points, and the amount of damage we inflict. So pretty standard stuff for any kind of RPG. On the top of the right page we have our stats, our main stats. So the first one is strength. It determines our damage bonus in fights and our ability to use heavy weapons. Strength has an impact on the object knowledge skill and the combat skills. So we'll be going through them in a while, but something you can see is if I pump points into strength, you can see that the values for the combat skills, as well as this one, which is object knowledge, increase. Some more than others, but still, they increase. So let's just get back to the start. The other stat, the second stat, is mental. This determines our mana pool, our magical energy, and resistance to magic. Mental has an impact on skills such as Ethereal Link, magic, technical skill, intuition, and object knowledge. So pretty much your mental attributes affect your mental oriented skills, which we will see also in a little bit. Third, we have dexterity. This determines your precision in combat and increases our chances of critical strikes during fights. Dexterity has an effect on technical skill, stealth, combat skills, and object knowledge. Once again, pretty standard stuff. Final stat, constitution. Determines our health pool, our resistance to magic, to poison, not magic. For magic, we have the mental attribute, and our ability to wear heavy armor. Constitution has an impact on defense. So none of these should be strange to anyone who's played an RPG by now. And after our main stats, which directly influence these squares down here, we have our skills. So for the first skill, we have stealth. This makes our footsteps softer, meaning that we are better at hiding in the shadows, attacking our enemies from behind, and even pickpocketing when our stealth levels are extremely high. The second is a technical skill. This allows us to succeed at tasks such as picking locked doors and disabling traps. Also very common. Intuition. A sort of sixth sense which helps you detect hidden objects such as secret passages and traps. Intuition also improves your nose for trading, allow you to make better deals. So in more modern terms, you would see this as the ability to detect hidden objects, such as it says up there, and improves your bartering skill. So once again, nothing too fancy. Ethereal Link. This one is a bit weird. This link warns you of the presence of hostile creatures and gives you information about your opponent's status during fights. This skill also determines your mana regain rate. So I'll be honest, and by the way, don't make me out to be some kind of pro in this game that knows everything. I don't. I've never really tried much of this skill because it's a bit vague on the description, especially the part of warning us of the presence of hostile creatures. So if I have made use of this skill sometime in the past when I played the game, I didn't even notice it. So object knowledge. This is used for actions such as repairing things, making potions, poisoning weapons, and identifying objects. So this is like the main utilitarian skill. So repairing your armor is something that it's always useful in any way you go. Poisoning your weapons, identifying objects, and making potions. So everything here is general purpose, and it's useful and it's worth having. This skill is for casting. This skill grants you access to different levels of spells. There are 10 levels of spells. This skill also determines ability to protect yourself from magic. So, straightforward, improves your casting, gives you access to higher levels of spells you wouldn't get otherwise. So, if you're going for a caster, this is where you're gonna pump a lot of points. And finally, the most obvious ones, which are all combat based. So, close combat gives you bonuses for striking and for inflicting damage when using any close combat weapon. So, pretty straightforward. Melee damage. Projectile gives you bonuses for striking and inflicting damage when using any long distance weapon in a fight. Again, archery. Pretty standard, nothing special. Defense. This skill determines your ability to use a shield. It increases the class of your armor and reduces the amount of damage you sustain during fights. So, once again, these three pretty self-explanatory. For this playthrough, I'm thinking of making our character someone who doesn't really care much about magic, and probably is gonna be something of a semi-sneaky fighter, but mostly focused on like sword and board, so some sort of weapon and a shield, and also being crafty, dealing with locked doors, traps, and also general stuff such as repairing potions, poisons, and all that stuff. So with that in mind, we have 16 points to spend on our main stats, and we have 18 points to spend on our skills. Now, given the idea of the character, I'm gonna put some points into strength. I want him to be able to use weapons. I don't know how much classifies as heavy weapons, but I want to make sure that he's able to use the weapons that we are finding along the playthrough. And this is also very important because it increases our combat stats. Okay, but since we're gonna be fighting pretty much straightforwardly, we want to get these high. As for mental, we may put some points here simply because, well, I like my character to not be a complete dummy. And this also increases useful stuff like the technical skill, intuition, and object knowledge. All of those are useful for what we want. But for now, let's leave it at 6. Into Dexterity, once again, this is a combat-focused stat. So it affects technical skill, which we want, stealth, maybe, combat skills, and object knowledge. Once again, something we want. Constitution. So this has an impact on defense. So the only skill this actually affects is this one right here. It doesn't touch on anything else. And also, of course, it affects our health points and resistance to poison. Now, I could do something like go full on physical and leave mental, but I want to have some technical skill, intuition, and object knowledge, so I guess I'm just gonna make maybe something like this. So this is a pretty balanced character. Don't expect any min-maxing going on around here. So these would be our stats. Now, as for the skills, like I said, we're gonna try and be sneaky where we can, but it's not gonna be our main way of approaching our enemies. Okay, so we're gonna be more of a straightforward fighter. So for now, we're just gonna leave this with the bonus it got from Dexterity at 20. As for the technical skill, to succeed at tasks such as picking locked doors and disabling traps, we want this. Every time I see a locked door, I want to be able to pick it. As for intuition, detecting secret passages and traps. Bartering, I don't really care that much, at least I don't think it's very important, but detecting stuff could be useful, so just gonna put 2 points. Ethereal Link, as I said, this is something I've never really made useful of, or if I did, I didn't even notice. So for now, gonna leave it at 16. Object knowledge, so general utilitarian skill. This is gonna get some points, but I also want to improve our close combat and defense. In regards to archery, I don't even remember what the ranged weapons in the game look like, so I'm gonna leave it at 32, which is not a bad score, since it's been pumped up by strength and dexterity. So we're not gonna touch this one, just explained why. We're not gonna touch casting because it's not gonna be the main focus of the build. So we're gonna be casting spells, but not really interested in accessing the highest levels of spells. Ethereal Link, I'm actually curious about this one just because what it says about information about your opponent's status during fights, this seems useful. But since I don't really know how it works, I'm gonna leave it at default. And stealth, the same thing I explained previously. We're gonna be sneaky when we can, but we're not really gonna focus on being sneaky. If someone finds us, we're just gonna murder them. And hopefully our combat prowess will be able to assist us in that regard. Okay, so appearance, like I said, we're gonna go with the default one. I like this one. And I think this can just be a video about character creation. So we'll actually leave the intro cutscene and the introductory part of the game for the next episode, so we can start fresh and have this just be like a character build for those who want to check it. So as always, guys, thank you very much for watching. If you have some thoughts on the game, if you guys have played this awesome game before, you want to share your experience, or if you have some insight on if I'm doing something stupid with the build, leave a comment. If you guys want to get notified on future uploads regarding this game or others, feel free to subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you all in the next episode. Until then, everyone, stay safe.